following is brought to you by the realagriculture.com mobile app. Go to realagriculture.com/mobile app for more information on the Android, BlackBerry, iPhone, and iPad version.
All right, I'm Lyndsey Smith here with realagriculture.com. We are talking with John Greig, based at Lucan, Ontario. He's with 31st Line Strategic Communications, and sort of in the thick of this last ice storm that rolled through beginning of last weekend. John, tell me about the difference between sort of farmers' preparedness for this event and, say, the 98 storm. What's different between the two?
Sure. Thanks, Lyndsey. The two storms are actually fairly significantly different. The 1998 storm was much bigger, and it also happened in January. So when the ice came down, it just went back to winter and froze and stayed there. So it did things like wreck whole electricity corridors and things like that. So on the scale, and that storm hit Ottawa and Montreal cities, whereas this one has actually been kind of quiet outside of those of us who are near it, because it didn't really hit a city. It hit Stratford, but that's not that big of a city, so so it hasn't been on people's radar really. And it's been okay, because most farmers I've talked to have fared okay. And if I remember back to the 98 ice storm, which was actually quite a bit further east of here, but there were people here who were packing. Those who had generators were packing them onto trucks and sending them out to Eastern Ontario and Quebec, in large volumes. It was every generator in every store or in every farm building was packed up and sent that way, because it was such a desperate need.
But certainly it seems like by yesterday, just about everybody had power back on. So and it just seemed that the generator was more the norm, I think, this time.
Absolutely. And even in people who aren't farmers necessarily, who are out in the country, a lot of them now have even just a small generator to save their freezer and stuff like that. Another thing is, the livestock farmers are more impetus, more focus on maintaining your food quality. If you look at a dairy farm, for example, all dairy farms now are called time temperature recorders, which record the temperature of the milk in your bulk tank at regular intervals through the day, and if it varies too much, goes too low, at some point, the milk truck just won't pick up your milk. So if your power is out for 12 hours, you have 3,000 or 4,000 liters in your tank. That's 70 cents a liter. That makes cash flowing your generator pretty simple, pretty easy, I think.
Now, the difference, of course, with this one is it being an April storm, and nearly mid-April storm. Of course, we've got the winter wheat crop out there, and of course, this sort of, now, thankfully, most of the area has been enjoying some heat since then, which has certainly been helping.
Very little bit of heat.
Well, hey, I'm sitting here.
A lot more. When they get complaining about it here, I said, just go look and see what they have in.
Go see what the West is doing.
Saskatchewan.
Yeah, exactly. So comparatively, I should say, much warmer. But of course, this is the hiccup with the difference in the timing of this storm is, how much icing has damaged the winter wheat crop in the area, and then of course, is this going to delay seeding? Well, planting.
From my planting versus seeding. From my observations, I don't think the winter wheat had much of an impact. I haven't been up through the more northern areas of where it hit, but the ice didn't last long at all.
Right.
By the next morning, most of it was gone. By the next evening, it was pretty much all gone, other than some. It was funny though, you'd see some. It basically looked like an ice shower. It was coming off trees, and just below trees there was an ice shower. So it didn't really stick around in the fields. It stuck around on trees and power lines and houses and things, but it didn't really stick around in the fields. So I don't think there's going to be much of an impact on wheat. And as far as on planting, the ice storm really wouldn't have an effect, but what we had was a large amount of rain, for about 2 days before that, and then it froze at the end of that, and that's what caused the big problems. Like those of us who, I was just below where the ice hit, and it's we just were half a degree or a degree warmer that night, and that was all the difference it made. But we had large, heavy rain and heavy winds, but didn't cause too much damage here. But what's affecting the planting is similar to what you have out there, only more extreme out there. Is it just hasn't been warm. Last year was an extraordinary year, very early spring.
Yeah.
It was very hard on fruit trees, but it really everything else came through in space. People were planting corn by now last year, which is unheard of. But we're weeks off of that for most people. There'll be some people on sand who will get some crops in the next week or two if it stops raining. But the soil's still really really cold. It just hasn't. We almost hit 20 degrees here yesterday, which was joyful for many of us.
Yes.
But that was the first warm day we've had since October. So even last year we had days when people were running around in shorts around St. Patrick's Day. So the soil's not had a chance to warm up, and any precipitation we've had has been cold. So it's going to be a little while yet. It's just still not really late yet.
No, not yet. But if this cool trend continues,
it's supposed to rain the rest of the week here. Exactly. It's not supposed to be warm or sunny or warm breeze. The warm breezes do so much for the soil here. So So it's it's nothing in the forecast that says it's going to get much better.
I know that's the crummy part. So fingers crossed for better weather. Yeah.
Yes.
We hope. Okay. Well, thanks so much, John. And I hope, and I'm sure by the end of today, everybody will be back online. Let's hope this is the last crummy week, and we can head on into Plant 13 and just keep on going.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks so much.
Lyndsey. Take care.